Chapter 21. Peak Master 4. Cut. Fight. Squeezing out every bit of my willpower, I lunged at the cultivator's leg with my sword. The cultivator, who had been relaxed until now, contorted his face in shock as my sword gang penetrated his defensive spells. Then, shuck, crack, crack, the sword gang, created by draining all my internal energy, extinguished like a candle in the wind. My energy was insufficient. Despite pouring decades worth of internal energy into it, lacking enlightenment, I couldn't maintain the sword gang for more than a second. My sword barely nicked the cultivator's leg, cutting through his clothes and inflicting a minor wound. As the sword gang extinguished, my sword could no longer penetrate his defensive spell. Simultaneously, the backlash of using all my internal energy hit me, causing blood to spill from my mouth, draining my strength, and leaving me collapsed on the spot. Cough, cough. Blood splattered with each cough. It felt like my insides were being churned. You filthy mortal. Enraged by my attack, the cultivator scattered talismans that transformed into glowing daggers, stabbing my arms and legs. Arg! I endured the pain, trying to grasp my sword, but the cultivator stomped on my hand. You filthy, mortal scum. Thump, thump, thump. He stomped on my hand mercilessly, spreading a more powerful defensive barrier around us. How dare you attempt to cut me? You, of all people. I am a noble descendant of the cultivator clan, not someone lowly mortals like you can touch. How dare you? After crushing my hand for a while, he reached into his pouch and scattered another handful of talismans. I planned to toy with you before killing the Mockley clan's branch family, but I've changed my mind. I'll tear all of you mortals to shreds like insects. Flames engulfed the talismans, transforming them into fireballs, and started shooting towards the guards. Watch carefully, insect, you'll see all your comrades torn to death before I chew you up. You insects, no matter how much you struggle, are meaningless before cultivators. Cough, cough, more blood gushed out of me. My internal organs were shaken from expending all my internal energy at once, blurring my vision. But my hearing was still clear enough to catch a few words. Insect. Meaningless. Yes, I am nothing but an insect. Compared to those truly talented, to the cultivators. But, I struggled. With my crushed hand, I grabbed the cultivator's ankle. I may be an insect, but even an insect's struggle is not meaningless. You filthy thing, let go of me. Fire erupted in the cultivator's hand again. It would have incinerated me instantly, but it's time. The fireball extinguished as time passed. What? Why isn't it? Blood flowed from the cultivator's eyes, nose, and mouth. The poison works. I smirked at the bewildered cultivator, grabbed his ankle tighter, and pulled hard. He collapsed. Antidote. He reached for his pouch. Thud. I knocked the pouch away. Gurgle. Blood foam rose from his mouth as he tried to chant a spell. But I wasn't going to let him. I climbed on top of him, shoving my crushed hand into his mouth, preventing him from chanting. You see, your death will be just as meaningless as those you looked down upon. After struggling for a while, the cultivator died. His dead body wasn't much different from the insects he had looked down upon all his life. In death, everyone is equal. The defensive barrier collapsed. The leader and other guards, having watched from outside, quickly came to me. The black barrier set by the cultivator disappeared, and I lost consciousness, seeing this as my last sight. When I opened my eyes, I was in my room. The leader was beside me, smoking a pipe. You're awake. Yes. But is it okay to smoke tobacco next to a patient? What are you talking about? Tobacco is a healthy herb. I can't believe this, I thought, remembering this was a medieval-like era. How's the situation with that cultivator? You killed him yourself, Deputy Leader Seo Eun-yun. He's dead. I've reported to His Majesty that you bravely sacrificed yourself to kill the cultivator, so don't worry. I've completed my mission today as well. I nodded, checking my body's condition. My right hand was still numb, and there was some damage to my vital energy channels, but it was stable. The wounds from the cultivator's daggers had all healed. The Emperor ordered the Imperial physician to treat you. Be thankful for His Majesty's grace. The Imperial physician healed me cleanly. I wish I could learn his medical skills. I admired the physician's skill and circulated my internal energy. Lying in bed, my body felt a bit refreshed. About your right hand. The leader looked at my hand and hesitated. It might still be usable, but not like before, is what the physician said. It's not fully healed, so don't strain it. After all, it was the hand that the cultivator had crushed and chewed. Honestly, I didn't expect it to be fine. Just being able to use it is a blessing. Good. You're positive, which is great. Also, His Majesty was impressed by your bravery and decided to award you. Since a shadow guard can't be officially rewarded, he asked me to pass this on. I hereby present you with an award on behalf of the Emperor. I kneeled as I received a small silk box from the squad leader. His Majesty decrees. Deputy Leader Seo Eun-yun, for bravely protecting the sacred throne, we grant this reward to remind you of your heavy responsibility. Inside the silk box was a small pill with a reddish hue. It's said to be made from the same ingredients as the pills eaten by chi refining cultivators during their transition to chi building. I don't understand it all, but I realized what the pill was. Leftovers from a pill. Working in a medical center, I knew that leftover materials from making elixirs were often used for detox or sold to fake spiritualists. It's said to extend life by about 10 years when taken by mortals. 10 years. I was astonished. Just leftovers can extend life by 10 years. The pill looked different now. Be forever grateful for the Emperor's grace. After he left, I thought, the imperial family sure knows welfare. I planned to take the pill when my life was almost over, to test its full effect. Always grateful for His Majesty's grace. 10 years later, 30 years since my return. The pain in my hand had become familiar. My swordsmanship and hidden weapon skills improved, and I was close to uncovering the cultivators' secret. Cultivators of the Jin clan hide in powerful formations. They gather talented mortals and train them to peak masters for assassination. I understood why I never heard of these peak masters in my previous lives. If the Jin clan rises to power again, maybe it'll be slightly better than these filthy Mokli cultivators. I decided to focus more on my martial arts and Kim Young-hoon's movements. Just then, click, a figure entered through the window. Young-hoon hung. Kim Young-hoon had entered the palace at night. I was just reading your letter. Knowing about the cultivators' domain. He interrupted, that letter was sent a month ago. But I've discovered something more critical in the past month. There are 2 cultivator clans in this country, the Mokli and the Jin. The Mokli clan ousted the Jin clan a century ago. Since then, the Jin clan has been planning to assassinate the Emperor using peak masters trained from mortals. Yes, I know that. But do you know why the Jin clan could produce so many peak masters? They forced the spirits of the dead family members of the assassins into the assassins, sacrificing their vitality to enhance their talents. The Mokli clan is worse. For 20 to 30 years, they've been capturing the poor to make a forbidden elixir that extends cultivators' lives using their blood and vital energy. Horrified, I shouted, Mokli clan is eating people. I instantly decided to join Kim Young-hoon in fighting these heinous cultivators. That night, I left the palace with Kim Young-hoon, ready to fight against the corrupt Mokli clan. Chapter 22, Refining 1. Following Kim Young-hoon, I left the imperial palace and arrived at a small manor on the outskirts of Seokyung City. There, I found a gathering of martial artists who had followed Kim Young-hoon. These people are. I was impressed by the caliber of warriors Kim Young-hoon had assembled. Members of the 4-star 3 demons. There are elders from various major sects too. It seems he had used his connections from his days as the Wulin Alliance leader to gather elders from the 7 major sects of Seokyung City's 4-star 3 demon and elders from some of the major sects in Yangguo. All of them were peak masters, capable of using the sword silk, and there were over 10 who had reached the level of 3 flowers gather at the summit. Without the cultivators, this force could even overthrow the imperial family. As I admired their strength, some of them glared at me, probing me with their red intents targeting my neck, forehead, and vital points. What is this, some kind of test? I responded with my intent, pointing at their vital points in kind. In a brief moment, I exchanged blows with several major sect elders. Who is this person brought by the former alliance leader, the world's #1 warrior? I've never seen such a master in Seokyung City. Ah, this man is Seo Eun-yun, my younger brother. He was a renowned peak master in the Changgo City area about 20 years ago. He recently joined us after leaving his role in the Shadow Guards. At his words, some elders seemed displeased. Why bring someone from the government? Especially someone from the imperial family. Can we really trust him if he might still be loyal to the emperor? I can't trust anyone from the government. It seems the martial sects naturally had prejudices against government officials due to generally poor relations. Wait, everyone, calm down. Though he served under the emperor, he has completely betrayed the emperor after hearing my offer. Isn't that right, Seo? That's right. If you want, I can even curse the emperor. I cleared my throat and let loose the frustrations I had been holding against the Emperor. Emperor Mokli Jung, you despicable man. Treating your subordinates like dogs while you comfortably sleep in your chamber, shameless and lazy. I'll expose your family's atrocities to the world. Having guarded the Emperor and seen him sleep comfortably in his chamber with a soundproof barrier while assassins attacked, I had often been annoyed. I never had the mindset to be loyal to the Emperor of Yangguo. In fact, I even harbored some resentment towards the Emperor. After my rant against the Emperor, the hostility in the eyes of the gathered peak masters seemed to soften. Well, if he's a spy, he wouldn't curse the Emperor so freely. Recognizing their acceptance, I felt a sense of achievement. Once the recognition was settled, Kim Young-hoon addressed the gathered martial artists. Listen, as I said before, the current imperial family and the cultivator clan behind them, the Mokli clan, have abandoned their humanity and sucked the lifeblood of countless commoners. They are no different from cannibalistic devil path cultivator. We've gathered enough allies. Starting today, we'll join hands with the Mokli clan's opposition, the Jin cultivator clan, and bring down the Mokli clan's strongholds. He continued his explanation. The Jin clan will support us from behind. We'll follow their lead to find the hidden domains of the Mokli clan and destroy their elixir-making furnaces where they grind commoners into pills. I hope you, the great masters gathered here, will join us in this righteous cause. There was no loud response, just silent nods. Then, let's move quickly to bring down those wicked cultivators. We followed Kim Young-hoon out of Seokyeong City. In a small valley northeast of the city, known as Amitguk, we met a group of red-robed cultivators waiting for us. These must be the Jin clan cultivators. I see they're quite capable, commented an elderly cultivator among them. Have you kept your promise? I brought allies, now let's take down those vile cultivators. Yes, yes, the wicked Mokli clan must be eradicated from Yangguo. Now, let's open the portal to the Mokli clan's domain. As the elder formed hand seals, the valley's landscape began to distort. Follow us closely, we're about to breach the Mokli clan's formations. We followed the cultivators into the twisting path, and soon, the distorted valley disappeared, leading us into a small village. It smells. Upon entering, the stench of blood and decaying bodies filled the air. Everywhere, the smell of blood and rotting corpses permeated the air. Intruders. The Jins are attacking. Dang, dang, a bell tolled from a watchtower in the village. Simultaneously, cultivators in blue robes emerged from the thatched houses and began forming hand seals. Whoom, a blue barrier enveloped the entire village, blocking our entry. Ha, you may have brought some martial artists, but you, Jin clan scum, dare not enter here. The barrier looked robust at first glance. The thickness of the blue light barrier was hundreds of times thicker than the flimsy defensive spell I had shattered with my energy in a previous encounter. That's when it happened. Step, Kim Young-hoon stepped forward. Elder, who is this mortal? Can we really trust him? The sounds of chattering cultivators in red robes from the Jin clan were heard from behind. The elder in red robes paused for a moment before responding. He may be a mortal, but he's different. It may be hard to believe, but he matched me in combat without being overpowered. Moreover, his techniques sometimes surpassed my defenses. Whoom, Kim Young-hoon began to gather his internal energy. Both I and the other peak masters, even those who had reached Three Flowers Gather at the summit, widened our eyes, eager to witness Kim Young-hoon's technique. Whoosh, as he raised his hand, internal energy began to coalesce in the air. The energy gradually condensed into a form of Gang Chi. The tremendous power emanating from the energy force made us, as well as the Jin clan cultivators, flinch. However, the transformation of Gang Chi was not the end. That is, I watched, wide-eyed, as Kim Young-hoon continued. The Gang Chi started to condense. Rumble, that is, in my past life, Kim Young-hoon had pursued this state in a frenzied chase. Rumble, the realm beyond five energies converging to the origin. The realm he had strived for until the very end was now unfolding from his hands once again. The Gang Chi solidified, taking the form of a small sphere. Everyone present could feel it. Being hit by that sphere would leave few unscathed. The strike that had burst the arm of a core formation cultivator in the past life. The technique that could confront a chi-building cultivator head-on. The sphere of Gang Chi, directed by Kim Young-hoon's gesture, flew towards the barrier created by the cultivators. Boom, bright light flashed, and a fierce windstorm ensued. The cultivators, each in their own way, performed spells to avoid being swept away by the storm, while we, peak masters, relied on our leg strength or cut through the wind to witness the spectacle. It was visible. Hundreds, no, thousands, tens of thousands of gang saber burst from the sphere, slicing through the barrier. In the world of peak masters, tens of thousands of intents danced in unimaginable trajectories. The red-robed elder from the Jin clan, seemingly having unpleasant memories associated with the sphere, showed discomfort. As the windstorm subsided and the light faded, a giant hole appeared in the center of the barrier. Everyone, enter. Yes, elder. The Jin clan cultivators, each using their flying spells, entered through the hole Kim Young-hoon had created. We also drew our weapons and entered through the breach in the barrier. Stop them. Block the Jins. Wait. First, stop those martial artists. Swish. The sword energy of a peak master who had reached 3 flowers instantly pierced through the defensive spell of a cultivator who had been speaking and slit his throat. A mortal has broken through a cultivator's spell. The pinnacle realm of martial artists. Retreat to the rear. Qi refining cultivators, release the Jiangxi. Simultaneously, dark Jiangxi started emerging from various places in the village. Bang! The Jiangxi rushed towards the peak masters. Their speed was faster than ours, and their strength far superior. However, I can see it. The optimal trajectory of the Jiangxi's attacks was clearly visible. Interesting. I hadn't considered it before, but those lines represent intent. Does that mean the Jiangxi, already dead and turned into vengeful spirits, still possess intent? I dodged the hand of a Jiangxi rushing towards me, then, using Deep Mountain, I cut diagonally and thought. Is it just the intent of their controllers? No, it doesn't seem just that. But if Jiangxi have intent, why can't they use sword energy? While cutting through the Jiangxi, I noticed a cultivator preparing a spell. Swoosh! I swiftly released a hidden weapon towards the cultivator, forming hand seals. Clang! The weapon rebounded off the cultivator's defensive spell, but, inexperienced in combat, he cancelled his spell preparation at the sound. Judging by the size of his consciousness, about Qi refining first star. I cut down the Jiangxi in my way and charged towards the cultivator, unleashing my sword silk. Clang! With each strike of my sword silk, visible cracks appeared in the cultivator's defense. This is pathetically weak compared to the spells used by the Qi refining second star cultivator I fought before. Although that cultivator had artificially inflated his abilities with talisman, his defensive spell was still his own ability. Clang! Clang! After several strikes, the distracted cultivator's defense shattered. Hyek, spare me. Please spare me. I only did what the clan asked me to. I didn't want to do it, I'm actually. What is this? I asked. Please, I'll tell you everything. This is the primary refinement. I furrowed my brow. Primary refinement? Yes. We extract the essence and vital energy from mortals and collect it in this formation for primary refinement into essence blood. This blood is then sent to the clan's higher-ups for further refinement in higher domains. There, they mix the essence blood, refine it again through secondary, tertiary, and quaternary processes, until finally, they create fresh blood by combining thousands of mortals' blood and energy, from which they concoct revival pills for the core formation elders. Oh, great master, I did nothing wrong. If you wish, I'll give you all the essence blood I've refined. It's a powerful supplement, and consuming it could increase your internal energy. Thank you. I looked at him with a sneer. You've made it easier for me to kill you without hesitation. What? Thud. Instead of using my sword, I infused my fist with energy and burst the cultivator's head. There had been some hesitation. Even if they were devil path cultivators, perhaps there were those who lived peacefully, cultivating in this village. In this village, there is no good person. There can't be. I cast aside all hesitation and drew my sword towards the cultivators in blue robes controlling Jiangxi. You all have no right to live. Severing Mountain swordsmanship. Qi Mountain, Heart Heaven. With my energy channels fully opened, I unleashed enhanced sword silk, cutting down the attacking Jiangxi in one swoop, and charged towards the blue-robed cultivators. Die, all of you. The battle ended quickly. In the center of the village, a Qi-building cultivator from the Mokli clan was swiftly killed by the combined attack of the Jin clan elder and Kim Young-hoon. With the Qi-building cultivator defeated, Kim Young-hoon went around slicing through Jiangxi and other cultivators with his energy spheres. Haha, excellent. As expected of a Mokli clan cultivator, their pockets are deep. I made the right decision joining this raid. The Jin clan cultivators, having finished looting the corpses of the Mokli clan cultivators, were rummaging through their belongings. Even the Jin clan elder was searching through the body of the Qi building stage cultivator. Those cultivators are going too far. How can they think of looting bodies after killing them? In contrast, I and the other peak masters were visibly uncomfortable. Although I had experience in plundering weapons and wealth after killing unorthodox martial artists, I had never actively searched bodies in such a manner. Well, it's natural for the victor to claim the spoils. You mortals might not understand, but taking the spoils is also a way to honor the defeated, spoke a Jin clan cultivator, slightly flushed, trying to justify their actions. But the more he spoke, the stiffer our expressions became. Enough. It's better to leave them be. After all, they are just dead. Wouldn't it be better to leave quickly? Just then, Kim Young-hoon approached us. Wait, we have something to do. What, are you also after the spoils? Ignoring the cultivator's words, Kim Young-hoon spoke to us. In the houses of the cultivators, there are bodies of sacrificed commoners. We should at least bury them, so they don't remain exposed like that. What do you think, masters? That's right, we forgot about them. We entered the houses where the Mockley clan cultivators had lived, dragged out the bodies of the commoners, and one by one buried them. Let them be. They're just dead. Isn't it better to leave quickly? The Jin clan elder, having finished looting, looked annoyed at Kim Young-hoon, who was digging the ground to bury the bodies. However, neither Kim Young-hoon nor any of us paid attention to him, continuing to silently bury the bodies. How much time has passed? After burying all the numerous bodies, we recited a short rite led by Kim Young-hoon and prayed they would rest in peace and not become evil spirits. We then left the village. Chapter 23. Refining 2. Kim Hung. What is it? Why are those called cultivators so heartless? How would I know that? I frowned, thinking about the conduct of cultivators. From the monsters we encountered at the beginning of the regression, who ignored everything we said, to the cruel method of pill making by the Mockley clan, and the cultivators of the Jin clan who rummaged through the dead and criticized us for trying to bury them. I can understand searching the bodies 100 times over. But why do they think burying the dead is a waste of time? Why are their thought processes so different? Perhaps, since they have been seeing the world of the five energies converging to the origin from birth, their way of thinking is different from ours. Plus, they've spent their whole lives not treating mortals as humans. I sighed, frustrated. The cultivators of the Jin clan informed us of the next gathering place and left the village, closing the formation of the Mockley clan territory and flying away on their flying devices. We were currently following them. A difference in perspective, or is it the inherent arrogance of cultivators? Or is it that all cultivators turn out that way? I wondered if it was right for me to become a cultivator. We continued to follow the guidance of the Jin clan's cultivators, destroying one stronghold of the Mockley clan after another. 5 years had passed since I left the Imperial Palace. Ha, look, Yun, it's your face. I saw my face on a wanted poster, wandering around the marketplace. Not just mine. Kim Young-hoon, as well as countless martial arts masters who followed him, were on wanted posters. The charge was treason. Treason, what nonsense. After all, it's just the lower forces of the cultivator clan. Even if they issue wanted posters, we can walk around the streets without any problems, thanks to the facial manipulation technique you created. That's good to hear. Over the past 5 years, I had developed a technique called reverse appearance technique, using my medical knowledge and transformational skills to manipulate facial muscles and change appearances. Thanks to that, we could walk around the streets freely, even though we were wanted. So, where's the next stronghold? It's on the western side of Lianshan City, on the hills. One of Mockley clan's pill-making furnaces is located there. This time, the furnace we are going to destroy is especially huge, so there will probably be a lot more cultivators from the Mockley clan. That's likely. And from what I've heard, there are also a significant number of peak martial artists raised by the Mockley clan. They are not just simple Jiangshi but actual peak martial artists, so we need to be a bit more cautious. Peak martial artists. I looked up at the sky. 35 years since regression. It took around 10 years to reach the mid-stage of the pinnacle realm since the regression and now 25 years later. My realm had not changed. Is my talent not enough to reach the 3 flowers gather at the summit? 3 flowers gather at the summit. Kim Young-hoon and other experts of that realm have been consistently giving me clues regarding it. The third color. Red thread signifying hostility. Blue thread signifying self-intent. Beyond that, the need to find and see the third color to reach that realm. But, in a fight, there's me and you. What else is there beyond that? There's definitely something beyond me and you. The very existence of the 3 flowers realm itself proves it. Ignoring the screaming pain in my hand, I held the sword and felt the threat of those around me as I walked down the street. I can see others' threads. I can see my own threads. But beyond that, no matter how hard I look, I can't see anything. Enlightenment still hasn't come. Even when I asked Kim Young-hoon about 3 flowers gather at the summit, I couldn't understand his words well. Originally, when Kim Young-hoon reached the peak, he didn't go through the early or middle stages but directly achieved 3 flowers. Asking him about transitioning from the middle stage to 3 flowers was nonsensical. Of course, I asked other masters of 3 flowers how to transition into it, but the answers I got were: immerse yourself in the state of selflessness. Understand that there is no you and no me. Contemplate the purity of martial arts. All of these answers were metaphysical in nature. Someone is staying in this place because they don't want to fall into a state of selflessness. Ignoring the tearing pain in my hands, I swung my sword for years. No matter how much I maintained the unity of sword and body, and fought life-threatening battles multiple times, the miracle of suddenly leaping to a higher realm never happened to me. While it wasn't as despairing as when I first reached the peak, climbing higher required tremendous talent and effort again. There are many masters at the peak here. The stronghold of the Mokli clan, located to the west of Lianshan City. If there are many masters, I might gain something by fighting them. Somehow, I felt that the stronghold discovered by the Jin clan this time seemed like a trap. It was a judgment I made after hearing from one of the Jin clan cultivators about how they found the stronghold and its level of force. The Mokli clan wants to capture Kim Young-hoon as well as the Jin clan. And me, a traitor to the imperial family. That's why I thought this time they would be fully prepared to face us. But I'm not worried. I glanced at Kim Young-hoon walking beside me. He had been writing a book recently. The title of the book was Secrets of Gazing Cultivation and Exceeding Martial Arts. Condensing the deep understanding of the 6 volumes of Gazing Cultivation and Exceeding Martial Arts scripture, and integrating it into one complete book of understanding, he had said. Like the Record of Transcending Cultivation and Exhausting Martial Arts, Record of Gazing Cultivation and Exceeding Martial Arts, and Gazing Cultivation and Exceeding Martial Scriptures, it was a book of profound knowledge that I couldn't understand even when I looked at it. But one thing was certain. Kim Young-hoon had surpassed his previous life's realm. Such a person could now inflict significant damage on a core formation cultivator and quickly escape. A trap is of no use. We would easily destroy their stronghold this time as well. Lianshan City. This is the place I fell in my very first life before regression. It had been a very long time since I had visited. Here I made soap, gathered herbs, brewed liquor, begged robbers to spare my life. Memories of those miserable times came flooding back. Let's go west. Yes, I wonder if the daughter of the Jew family has been born. Is the house of Lord Jiam still filled with servants strutting around arrogantly? I wonder if the persimmon tree of the Sung family still bears fruit well. After looking at Lianshan City for a while, I ran west following Kim Young-hoon. Memories that no one but I remember. Memories that only I know of, changed by my power of regression. A miraculous, incredibly grateful ability, but that's why this ability has to disappear. These memories that only I will know will continue to accumulate, and the more they do, the harder it will be for my mind to endure. Hence, I will definitely go to the previous world and eliminate this power. Until then, I will strive to be human. As a human, I will live a human life. Absolutely, I will not become corrupted by evil paths like the cultivators of the Mokli clan, nor act against human morals. Of course, those filthy evil path bastards, they can't make me dance less. Those who violate human morals, as long as I can reach them, must be punished. To that, arriving at the destination with Kim Young-hoon, there were already Jin clan cultivators in red robes and other peak masters gathered. The opinion that this Mokli clan's stronghold is likely a trap came out in the Jin clan's elder council. Therefore, 1/3 of the Jin clan's elder council has personally come forward. Thus, you martial artists must also fight with all your might. Among the red-robed cultivators, a considerable number of chi-building cultivators with substantial consciousness were mixed in. I understand. Do not worry, I always fight with my best. Good. Then, let's open the formation. Wang. As one of the elders of the Jin clan completed a hand seal, the air began to distort. We followed the elders of the Jin clan into the formation and soon saw the village, just like before. This village was about twice the size of any territory of the Mokli clan we had seen before, with not just straw houses but also a significant number of tiled mansions. And then, It was a trap after all. The cultivators of the Mockley clan were forming a formation and sealing spells in front of the village. Seal. The cultivators of the Mockley clan simultaneously formed their hand seals and shouted an incantation. At the same time, an enormous barrier, unlike any we had seen before, surrounded the territory of the Mockley clan. Water. Simultaneously, dozens of cultivators formed another hand seal and used a different spell. Shah. A massive surge of water gushed from behind the cultivators, rushing towards us outside the barrier. The water reeked of rotting corpses, and I had a feeling that even a single drop touching me would be disastrous. Elders, to the front. The chi-building cultivators of the Jin clan stepped forward and formed their hand seals. Flame. Warurururu. A wall of flames appeared. The giant wall of fire blocked the water flow and began to evaporate it. Push forward. Chi. As the cultivators of the Jin clan stepped forward one by one, the giant wall of fire also moved forward in sync. Mortals. We will clear the way, so break through the barrier. Understood. Pang. Kim Young-hoon sprinted forward, kicking off the ground. He leapt into the air and, stepping on thin air, headed towards the barrier. Wang. As Kim Young-hoon extended his hand, energy seemed to gather in it, and a sphere of gang chi burst forth from his palm. That must be the realm Kim Young-hoon achieved by condensing and integrating the 6 volumes of the scripture. The gang chi didn't gather chaotically in the air but was released cleanly from his body, forming a sphere in an instant. I don't know for sure, but he must have reached and surpassed the realm the previous Kim Young-hoon stepped foot in. The preparation time for compressing gang chi is much shorter than last time. Before the battle began, I remembered the secrets of gazing cultivation and exceeding martial arts that Kim Young-hoon had given me. If I pass this technique on to Kim Young-hoon in the next life, he would surpass this realm. Again, Kwang. Kim Young-hoon launched the sphere at the barrier. A loud explosion roared, and a gust of wind blew. However, this time the barrier only shook slightly and remained steadfast. As expected, the Mockley clan was thoroughly prepared this time. Kim Young-hoon, without any sign of panic, extended his palm again. And another sphere of gang chi burst forth. Kwang. The barrier was hit by consecutive explosions. Cracks began to form in the barrier. Kim Young-hoon extended his palm once more. Kwang. More cracks appeared in the barrier. Kim Young-hoon extended his palm again. With each attack, more and more cracks appeared in the barrier. At some point, Kakong. Unable to withstand Kim Young-hoon's attacks any longer, a hole was blown open in the barrier. Everyone, head towards the barrier. Burn down the Mockley's business. The cultivators of the Jin clan rushed towards the hole created by Kim Young-hoon, and the Peak Masters also rushed through the gap into the inside of the barrier. Die, you devils! When I, too, entered the barrier with my sword. Pang! The sound of air tearing apart, and something long rushed towards me. It was a halberd. Kong. I exerted sword silk and blocked the halberd. I could see the face of the person holding the halberd in front of me. I couldn't stop my pupils from shaking. Leader. Leader of the Shadow Guards. My former superior was blocking me. Behind him, the members of the Shadow Guards were lined up, holding various weapons. It's been a while. I don't know a traitor like you. Vroom. The leader swung his halberd. 7 red threads emanated from his halberd. I countered his red threads with my own blue threads. My blue and his red crossed in the air. A traitor, you say? Leader, do you know what the current imperial family is doing? I know. Vroom. He swung his halberd again. I parried his halberd with my threads while dodging and swinging my sword silk. You know and yet you're loyal. Is that what a human should do? Before being human, we are the limbs of His Majesty the Emperor. Limbs do not think. They move as commanded. Since His Majesty has ordered me to capture you, I will not think either. How frustrating. In the eyes of the Emperor, mortals like us are not the same humans as him. We are not his people but livestock he raises. Leader spun with his halberd, thrusting it 3 times, then extended chi silk towards me. I danced the transcendent peak step to dodge leader's attacks and countered with landscape painting, covering my sword with sword silk and striking back at his chi silk. Loyalty should be given to someone deserving, not to him. All that comes from serving him is the death of helpless commoners. Our threads of red and blue intertwined. Then, breaking through my defense, leader aimed his knee at my waist. Cuck. I was hit by leader's kick and floated in the air, turning once before landing. He's improved. The leader, he's in the realm of 3 flowers. Is it different for you? Leader asked me with a gloomy face. Those from the Jin clan who you are with, are they different? They're better than those devils. No, the Jin clan you're with are also cultivators. The only difference from the current imperial family is the degree, they both see mortals as bugs. Do you think you're on the side of justice? Wrong, it's just a matter of scope and degree. Those people will also grind down the people of Yangguo. They're no different but all the same. Quote. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As he swung his halberd, the wind seemed to be sucked into the leader's chest. His chi silk swirled and shot towards me. I can't block it, like my chi mountain, heart heaven, an attack that can't be stopped even if anticipated. If there's no difference, at least I won't turn my back on the loyalty I've given now. The movement of his halberd converged to one point and shot towards me. The chi silk on his halberd strengthened and began to evolve. Pot, a brilliant light burst forth. Gang chi, quote. If that's your belief. Seeing the gang chi rushing towards me, I relaxed the power in my sword. I will respect that as well. As I removed my intent, the sword silk around my sword disappeared, leaving only pure sword energy. I placed my sword against the incoming halberd, absorbing its power into my sword. Severing mountain swordsmanship, echoing valley, quote. Exclamation mark quote. Surprise flickered in the leader's eyes. I rotated, redirecting his gang chi back at him. Flash, light flashed, and where the storm of light subsided, leader stood, his right hand severed. Quote. I've lost. Your swordsmanship is always hard to predict, no matter how many times I see it. Quote. It is a swordsmanship I am still lacking in. Still lacking. Impossible. Even your move just now had the enlightenment of 3 flowers gather at the summit. It was the most beautiful technique I've ever seen. He smirked. I spent my life practicing martial arts, hoping to reach 3 flowers, but once I did, I realized I was just a lesser version of a cultivator. Unless it's the legendary realm of 5 energies converging to the origin, martial arts will always be secondary to cultivators. Ha ha ha, Xiao Unyun. Do you understand? Nothing matters in front of cultivators. Quote. Since nothing in martial arts matters, all that's left is the meaning I give to it. I chose loyalty, and my object of loyalty happened to be the current emperor. He smiled sadly. That you and I have different beliefs, is a shame, only. Cough. Cough. Leader coughed up blood and collapsed. No more life flowed from him. He was dead. Quote. Why didn't you join the fight? I asked the other members of the Shadow Guards. If they had intervened while I was fighting Leader, I might have died. Quote. It was Leader's request. If we joined, Deputy Leader would start using hidden weapons and poison, so he asked us to let him have a pure martial duel. Quote. You still call me Deputy Leader. Once a superior, always a superior. Once loyalty is given, it is forever. Yes, you two remain loyal to the current imperial family. I gave a sad smile to my former subordinates. I am sorry, I might have to kill you today. Papa Bat. As soon as I finished speaking, all members of the Shadow Guard drew their weapons and charged at me. Chalk. First, I scattered poison and drew out hidden weapons. Infinite fighting hidden weapon technique. Double killing snake. Pieing. I threw 2 hidden weapons, each coated with a different poison, at the Shadow Guards. All 11 Shadow Guards avoided the poisoned hidden weapons with minimal movements. Severing mountain swordsmanship, landscape painting, entering mountain, flowing ridge, deep mountain. After wielding my sword in the landscape painting style, I shifted to a low stance, aiming for balance, and made a serpentine thrust for control. I then lunged in for the attack. However, the Shadow Guards quickly dodged and each wielded their weapons against me. Infinite fighting hidden weapon technique. Triple-headed snake. Shuck. I fitted 3 hidden weapons on my left hand and swung them like a whip at the closest guard. After swinging 3 times to create distance, I coated the hidden weapons with poison and fired them in succession. Pieing. While the 3 Shadow Guards who were charging at me dodged the hidden weapons, others leapt over them, swinging their weapons. Sword, blade, curved sword, chain sword, dagger. Different weapons rushed towards me. Severing mountain swordsmanship. Strange stone. Boom, boom, boom. I spun my body, wielding my sword in an all-encompassing defensive and offensive posture. At the same time, I took out poison powder from my pocket and spread it around. Infinite fighting hidden weapon technique. Illusionary snake mist. Amongst the poison powder, I sent other poisoned hidden weapons targeting the Shadow Guards. taking advantage of their moment of distraction to dodge the hidden weapons. Severing mountain swordsmanship. Entering mountain, I shifted to a low stance to aim for balance. Ah, damn, to be at the same level as a mid-peak master. Truly the skills of deputy leader. Crack, I took out and chewed an antidote pill while gripping my sword tightly enough to break my hand. Ignoring the pain that felt as if my hand would break, I spoke. Don't open your mouth. Use your energy sensing technique if you want to live. The poison powder I just spread doesn't poison through the skin. Quickly applying paralysis powder to a cloth, I covered the sword blade and prepared another move. It's not a sword technique, but a saber technique. But since they share the same root, they can be used similarly. Severing vein saber method. Mountain wind. 5 consecutive strikes. Pieing. A series of thrusts at a terrifying speed, too fast to react, cut through the air 5 times. Gook. Gurk. 5 members of the secret guards collapsed after being hit by my sword coated with paralysis powder. 6 left. As I faced the 6 shadow guards charging at me, I grasped another hidden weapon. Infinite fighting hidden weapon technique. Red snake. I threw 3 hidden weapons at the approaching soldier wielding dual swords, each timed differently. The first targeted his forehead. The second, immediately following, aimed at his ankle. The third, following that, targeted his lower abdomen. The trajectory of these hidden weapons was akin to a red snake. Ting. His dual swords deflected 2 hidden weapons, but he couldn't deflect the third. I swiftly charged in, using transcending peak steps and employing transcending peaks. Chalk. With the front of the shadow guard's chest slightly cut, he soon collapsed from paralysis. Are you going to keep coming at me? I asked the remaining members. Truly the skills of deputy leader. Truly a seasoned veteran. The difference in skills coming from that vast combat experience is simply insurmountable. They smiled at me, each holding a spear, moon blade, dual heavy swords, staff, and sword. If all cultivators are the same anyway, let's at least be good to the one we're currently loyal to, they said, agreeing with leader's view. I smiled bitterly. That's right. Even if the Jin clan regains control of the imperial family, the situation for mortals like us might not change. But still, just maybe, it could be a little better. With that slim hope, I pushed on with my actions. Come at me, all of you. A staff swung at me. A spear pierced towards me. A moon blade swung from the opposite side of the staff. The guy wielding the dual broadswords swings his swords from the opposite side of the spear. The guy with the sword leaps up as if flying and strikes down at me. Meanwhile, countless thread trajectories target me. Red and blue lines draw numerous orbits around me. It felt like my brain was going to burn. How can I escape this crisis? How can I? Just then, amidst those numerous trajectories, I suddenly saw a third color. Kook. The spear grazed my waist. The energy on the spear tore the flesh from my waist. Infinite fighting hidden weapon technique. Triple-headed snake. Pieing. I put 3 hidden weapons on my fingers, each coated with paralysis poison, and threw one at the shadow guard who swung the spear. My hidden weapon easily penetrated his trajectory and hit his shoulder. The staff spins targeting my head. I threw a hidden weapon to alter the trajectory of the staff, and then threw the last hidden weapon at the guy who threw the staff. Again, my hidden weapon easily penetrated his trajectory and embedded in his thigh. 2 of the guards became incapacitated. 3 left. I see something. Between their threads and mine. A third color, neither red nor blue. Shuck. The dual broadswords swing from right to left below. I bent my waist to dodge the broadsword. But a long cut appeared from my forehead to my left jaw from the sword energy on the broadsword. The moon blade targets my waist. If I dodge upwards, it'll become a target for the guy striking from above, and if I dodge downwards, it'll be cut by the dual broadswords preparing their next move. But amidst the red and blue threads, in this life or death fight, my focus was on the emerging third color. Severing mountain swordsmanship. Secluded valley. Heavenly lake. Using the secluded valley, I twisted and deflected the trajectory of the guy striking down with the sword, and with Heavenly Lake, I momentarily stopped the action of the guy swinging the moon blade. In the meantime, the dual broadswords wielder who had completed his next move swung his broadswords at me again. In an instant, I threw hidden weapons coated with paralysis poison at the arms and legs of the shadow guards with the moon blade and sword. Then, I swiftly extended my sword toward the dual broadsword soldier. Severing mountain swordsmanship. Echoing valley. Between the blue and red. The color that appeared was purple. The shadow guards and my thread. That purple color, whose origin was indiscernible, showed me a new path between him and me. I followed this new path, countering the dual broadsword soldier's move with echoing volley. Kong! My sword cleanly sliced through his dual broadswords. As his weapon was severed, the guard seemed about to draw a dagger and charge, but I was faster in throwing my hidden weapon. Cuck, it was that movement. As if I was facing leader. Quote. You could have killed all of us. It would have been much easier and painless. Why did you choose such a difficult path? Even if you didn't kill us, it would have been easier to subdue us if you were prepared to sever an arm or leg. I briefly replied to the fallen dual broadsword soldier. You called me deputy leader. Cuck, you are an interesting person. Quote. That movement just now, it looked similar to leaders. An attack that suddenly breaks through the trajectories. I didn't see a red line, but suddenly the ability to penetrate the trajectory. Did you gain a new perspective? Have you reached 3 flowers gather at the summit? I shook my head bitterly at the question. No, I am sorry, but I haven't reached that realm. Then, I am getting a sense of it. Slowly entering that realm, the third color. The purple thread was sometimes visible, sometimes not. It didn't appear consistently. So, to see purple consistently, I would need to continue fighting life or death battles. Just then, someone approached me, someone familiar to me, from my time in the Shadow Guards, someone I had guarded a few times and my job more difficult. The Crown Prince, Mok Li Yun. It's amazing, deputy leader's skills are to this extent. There was a reason why my father sent me. It's been a while, Your Highness. If you've been watching since earlier, why didn't you intervene? Why intervene? It wouldn't be fun if I did. And don't call me, Your Highness. Today, I'm here representing a branch of the Mok Li clan, not as a member of the imperial family. Fun? You realize the entire Shadow Guards could have died at my hands. Is that fun for you, Your Highness? Don't call me, Your Highness. Well, since you keep calling me that, I'll tell you something. Do you know why I became the Crown Prince? The Crown Prince began to expand his domain. His red threads started to engulf the surrounding space. I reached the same chi refining 4th star as my father at a young age. Regardless of 3 flowers gather at the summit or whatever, they can barely compete against chi refining 1st, 2nd, and 3rd star. Do you think you, who is not even in the 3 flowers gather at the summit, can defeat me? I'll ask again, do you find this fun? TCH, it's not fun. Enough talk, come at me. As always, that annoying guy who used to bother the Shadow Guards when I was guarding the Emperor. He always questioned our necessity while speaking arrogantly. But he had the right to be arrogant. Because he was strong, so strong that not even a group of peak martial artists could stand against him. Even ordinary 3 flowers gather at the summit masters would have to risk their lives against him. However, I hadn't entered 3 flowers, just barely stepping into its boundary. Fighting against him would surely lead to my death. But why? I can feel a smile forming on my lips. Ah, yes, because it's okay even if I die. I've grasped the clue to enlightenment, so what does it matter if I die the next moment? Take care, all members of the Shadow Guards. I am now going to die. I attained the way in the morning. So, it's fine if I die in the evening. To embody this enlightenment, I am going to die today. I ran towards the Emperor's son, the Crown Prince, with my sword in hand. Seeing the faint purple thread, I felt like I could do something I never dared to attempt even after several regressions. I swung my sword, the martial art that had always been in my head, but I could never understand. Record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. As I entered the red divine consciousness of the Crown Prince, I used the martial art I had long longed for. Record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. The next moment, Seo Eun-yun's form disappeared like a phantom. Chapter 24, Refining 3. A new world appears before my eyes. Though I haven't fully entered that world yet, I sense that once I do, everything will change drastically. The purple thread. Familiarizing myself with the direction this new path points to, I recall the formula of record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. Up to now, I memorized the formula but couldn't understand a single word. That's why, even possessing this divine technique, understanding it was impossible. Now, however, the moment I saw the path of purple, somehow, I felt I could understand, record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. Now I understand why everyone who read, record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts called it an absurd martial art. Yes, this is a martial art that could completely overturn the history of martial arts in Yangguo. Its basis might be for escaping and ambushing cultivators. But if used properly, this could be Undoubtedly a martial art meant to capture and kill those cultivators. A few cycles back, this was Kim Young-hoon's assessment of record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts after mastering it. Yes, used properly, it's indeed a martial art capable of killing cultivators. The formula of record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts crosses my mind. In the contest of martial arts, if the clashing of colors represents the essence of martial arts, can't we attack the colors themselves? A phrase incomprehensible before stepping into the realm of three flowers gather at the summit. But now, I understand. Colors represent intent, spirit, will, etc. Attacking the colors themselves mean attacking the opponent's intent directly. Beyond exchanging intent trajectories, attacking the intent themselves, and furthermore, cutting through the opponent's very consciousness, is the essence of record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. One who uses this as a basis can enter a cultivator's blind spots and strike. The divine technique Kim Young-hoon showed, which made him disappear like a phantom, wasn't his agility but the record that quickly sliced through my consciousness, making it impossible for me to perceive him momentarily. Shuck. My sword dives into the flow of the Crown Prince's consciousness. Every human consciousness has its fibers. Aiming for the gaps in the fibers through the purple thread, I concentrate my intent following the formula of record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts and slice into his consciousness. Pot. The edges of his consciousness split. Though I stand before him, in his eyes, I must appear to have vanished like a phantom. I've entered the cultivator's blind spot. Ordinary martial artists can't perceive intent due to completely being dominated by a cultivator's consciousness domain. Conversely, a cultivator can detect every movement of a martial artist who enters their realm of consciousness. But, record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts allows one to penetrate the cultivator's blind spot, rendering even cultivators unable to track a martial artist's actions. A martial art that momentarily equalizes martial artists with cultivators. This is a martial art created by mortals to transcend the cultivators. Quickly slicing through the fibers of the Crown Prince's consciousness, I approach him closely and raise my sword. Severing mountain swordsmanship, transcending peaks. Pot. My sword, covered in sword silk, precisely targets the Crown Prince's neck. Then, the sound of clashing metal resounds. Kong. A translucent defensive spell suddenly covers him. Huh, Hoo-hook, what trick did you play? Surprised by my sudden disappearance and close-range attack, he forms a spell seal. Kwang. Energy writhes, changing the flow of the surrounding air. Puring. I'm thrown backwards by a strong recoil, and a small whirlwind starts rising around the Crown Prince. Fun tricks, but I'll show you they won't work on a true cultivator. Pyong. Several wind blades shoot out from the whirlwind covering him. I hastily retreat, dodging outside the Crown Prince's domain of consciousness. From outside his realm, the flow of intent becomes clear. Severing mountain swordsmanship. Strange stone. Boom, boom, boom. In a defensive and offensive stance, I deflect all incoming wind blades and prepare to re-enter his domain. However, as the Crown Prince forms another spell seal, a wind bullet, as big as my upper body, shoots towards me from the whirlwind. I need to dodge. Frowning, I deploy my agility technique and escape among the houses within the Mockley clan's territory. Kwang, kwang, kwang. The wind bullet collapses several straw houses, and corpses and streams of blood from mortals spill out. I need to approach the whirlwind. Observing the Crown Prince's whirlwind, I click my tongue. Every strand of that wind is a wind blade. If I approach, I'll be shredded. Even if I manage to approach by cutting through his consciousness, if I can't penetrate the whirlwind, I can't deliver a strike. No, hold on. Even if I penetrate the whirlwind, the Crown Prince's defensive spell remains. My sword silk isn't enough to penetrate his spell. How can I break through all of it? Kwang, kwang, kwang. I dodge through the alleys of the village, using the houses of cultivators as a shield against the Crown Prince's attacks. Dodging isn't a problem, as long as I keep observing the flow of his intent from outside his domain. However, fundamentally, the internal energy of a martial artist is more impure compared to a cultivator's spiritual power, so no matter how much internal energy a martial artist has, they will tire much quicker than a cultivator. I can't drag this out. I need to finish this quickly. And to do that, now, right now, I must ascend to 3 flowers gather at the summit. I must seize this clue and ascend now. With the resolve to die. Ta-at. Climbing onto the roof of a house with my transcending peak step, I thrust my sword at the wind bullets the Crown Prince shoots. Boo-wang, kwang. Cutting upwards with ascending vein, the wind bullets split in half and fly off in different directions. Jing, jing, jing. My hand is trembling. Indeed, the power contained in the wind bullets were formidable. The hand holding my sword ached unbearably. I'll keep receiving those attacks. I gave up on dodging and continued to thrust my sword at his wind bullets and wind blades. The intent of the wind bullets and wind blades is directed at me. I observe the attacks coming from both sides and prepare my stance. Severing mountain swordsmanship, landscape painting, diagonal slashes extend left and right, cutting through the approaching wind blades and wind bullets. But beyond, even more endless wind blades rush in. They don't stop. I keep wielding my sword and perform sword moves. Severing mountain swordsmanship, joy of mountains and peaks. Flowing ridge, strange stone, bouldered cliff, amidst continuous rotation, piercing and slicing the wind bullets. I attack and block in a defensive and offensive stance. While doing so, I begin to approach step by step again. Shuck, shuck, I cautiously advance, inching forward with measured steps. Shoulder, waist, cheek, thigh. The flesh touched by the wind blades turn to tatters. HMPH, dare to come at me. Die. The crown prince forms a spell seal, and the whirlwind writhes, as numerous wind blades begin to merge. Soon, they form the shape of a giant bird. A deep red consciousness aims at me. A terrifying killing intent pierces the entire space I stand in. I can't block it. I can't dodge it. The moment it flies at me, I'll die. I instinctively know, but for some reason, I'm not worried. I just aimlessly follow the faint purple thread between the red. What does purple mean? Blue is the thread of self-protection. Thus, it extends from me. Red is the thread of killing intent. Thus, it extends from the enemy. Then what is purple? Purple is. Suddenly, I feel as if the red and blue threads are mingling, somewhat forming a tai chi. Though blue is weaker compared to red, it mixes with red. And between red and blue, a purple thread opens a path. Purple is the color born from the mix of blue and red. Hostility and self-will, the will to protect oneself and the will to kill. Why can these two intents mix? Suddenly, looking at the stance I've taken, I'm amazed. Facing this fearsome attack, I've adopted the severing mountain swordsmanship's first move, transcending peaks. Do I no longer want to live? No, that's not it. I've always wanted to live. Then, the current stance also means my will to live has guided me towards it. Ah, right, this isn't just a simple transcending peaks. Transcending peaks marks both the beginning and end of the severing mountain swordsmanship. Therefore, it can also be the initial form of the ultimate technique, severing mountain. Keek, the giant bird flies towards me. I initiate the 22nd form of severing mountain swordsmanship, severing mountain. Transcending peaks, entering mountain, ascending vein, flowing ridge, bouldered cliff, strange stone, deep mountain, secluded valley, landscape painting, dragon vein, cliff edge, 12 lights emerging peak. I slash horizontally, then vertically again holding the sword high and piercing crookedly, then I rotate in a defensive and offensive stance, adjusting and charging forward with an upward slash. I twist and neutralize the opponent's power, slashing diagonally several times. In an instant, I intensify the sword silk with a rapid vertical slash, then change the speed, slashing upwards and firing 12 streams of sword silk. All of this happens in a flash. I frantically wield the severing mountain swordsmanship, relentlessly pursuing the purple thread. The power of the giant bird intensifies. The wind blades emitting from its body leave scars and cuts all over my body. My vision blurs, perhaps due to too much blood loss. A little more, just a little more. Keep moving the sword, get even one step closer to that color. Even if I die the next moment. If I lack talent, joy of mountains and peaks. Chi mountain, heart heaven. Layered mountain, mountain tiger, mountain and valley transformation, echoing valley. I must go crazy. It's okay to die now. So please, show me the way. In that moment, I see a massive red intent aiming at me and think, maybe in the contest of martial arts, there is no me or others. Until now, I've always thought others' intents were invariably red. But if I change my perspective, from the other's point of view, their intent is blue, and mine is red. I used to think the world of peak martial artists only consisted of others' intents and mine. But maybe that's a mistaken thought. Others' intent, and my intent, it's just a matter of perspective and maybe they're all the same color. I close and then open my eyes. Changing perspectives, my intent appears red and the giant bird's intent blue. When I blink again, the colors return to normal, but I understand. If intent is essentially the same, what remains is only my martial arts. The boundaries between my color and the crown prince's color start to fade. Red and blue melt into each other, and before me, the world seems to be drenched in purple. My body is turning into tatters in real time, but concurrently, I enter a strange state of ecstasy. Martial arts are never complete on their own. Martial arts need a partner to dance with. Ah, I see. I finally understand the realm of three flowers gather at the summit. A realm of connection. A realm where the boundary between the opponent's intent and mine disappears, allowing me to read their intent more directly and meticulously. By understanding the opponent's intent, I can ensure that all my movements and techniques are flawless. I mirror all my techniques in the Crown Prince's intent, fully understanding how much energy I've wasted. How many unnecessary movements I made while executing sword moves. Hua, I take a deep breath. I gather all the internal energy I've carelessly scattered while executing my sword moves. The Shadow Guards, paralyzed by paralyzing powder, watched the duel between Xiao Unyun and the Crown Prince from the ground. A seasoned veteran with overwhelming practical experience despite his young age. That was the assessment of Xiao Unyun when he joined the Shadow Guard. Such an experienced master had been refining his skills for decades. But everyone in the Shadow Guards thought he couldn't beat the Crown Prince. Because he was a cultivator. A being of a different class from martial artists. Indeed, Xiao Unyun was becoming tattered in real time while fighting the Crown Prince. He was spewing blood, covered in wounds and holes torn in his body. Yet, he did not give up and steadily moved forward, step by step. Everyone knew, this desperate struggle was futile. Suddenly, the Shadow Guards were astounded. Xiao Unyun began to execute his swordsmanship. It looked more like a sword dance. A series of movements, clean without any superfluity. But what astounded them was what happened next. Xiao Unyun's intent became increasingly refined to the point where even the mid-pinnacle guards failed to grasp an understanding. His intent, which had spread out around him, suddenly converged into 3 points. Th3. Above his head, 3 flowers bloomed. 3 flowers. Gather at the summit. The 3 flowers that momentarily lingered above his head were soon sucked into his nose and mouth. Hew up. All the wasted energy returns at once. The internal energy spent while executing the Severing Mountain swordsmanship is instantly replenished. I felt like I understood why Leader said that Echoing Valley was linked to 3 flowers gather at the summit. A technique that receives and counters the opponent's power. In a sense, it was a practice of exchanging intents with the opponent, ultimately leading to connection. Thank you, Hung Nim. I express my deep gratitude to Kim Young-hoon from my past life and continue to swing my sword. There is no you or me. Only martial arts itself exists here. I felt like I understood why 3 flowers gather at the summit. Master spoke to enter a state of no mind. Not a metaphysical answer, but advice to reach a state where neither your intent nor the others exists. Mountain echoes, valley respond. 9 mountains 8 seas. In a state of no mind, I unleash my sword. In executing sword moves, not even a single bit of wasted movement exists. In the realm of purple, beyond blue and red, I continue to infuse my sword with intent. If there is no you or me in martial arts, then there is neither your intent or mine. The sword silk becomes one with the sword, infusing it with energy. If sword silk is the realization of sword intent, then next, sword intent should connect with the intent flowing through the world. Pot. The sword silk evolves. The faint aura surrounding the sword thickens and starts to emit a radiance. It looked as if the sword was adorned with starlight. Sword Gang. Why I couldn't sustain the Sword Gang for more than a second with my strength alone, even when pouring all my internal energy into it, became clear in the realm of 3 flowers. Because martial arts aren't just about using one's own strength. The opponent's intent, and the intent of the world must connect to truly complete martial arts. Severing Mountain swordsmanship. Heavenly Lake. I become like a clear lake, sweeping through the flow of the giant bird with my sword. Though it was a spell body without meridians and channels, I felt like I could understand the giant bird's structure. The flow of intent inside the giant bird was clear to see. The power of the giant bird was sucked into my sword in an instant, and I executed the ultimate technique of the Severing Mountain swordsmanship while sheathing my sword. Severing Mountain swordsmanship. Ultimate move. Severing Mountain. Chalk. Unsheathing the sword again, I unleash it towards the giant bird. My sword was clearly adorned with bright sword gang. Chung. The sword gang shatters the giant bird. Who? I catch my breath. I look at the Crown Prince, grinding his teeth within the whirlwind, with clear eyes. Ha, you. Don't be happy just because you broke one spell. Take this. Numerous wind blades merge, transforming into a giant dragon this time. But I no longer felt that these would kill me. To that, I charge at him with the transcending peak step. Kung! The wind dragon roars and flies towards me. In the midst of executing the foot technique, I realized something more. Mountain Lord martial arts and transcending peak step were one technique all along. Until now, I didn't realize it due to my lack of talent. It was only after reaching the state of 3 flowers that I finally understood the intention Kim Young-hoon had left in this foot technique when he created it. Mountain Lord transcends great peaks. And then, it soars. Mountain Lord's soaring flight. I leapt up, avoiding the wind dragon, and entered the Crown Prince's domain. Be nervous, Your Highness. Now, there were no more constraints in executing the record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. The moment I entered his domain, I felt the flow of his consciousness sweeping over my entire body. Using secrets of gazing cultivation and exceeding martial arts, I sharply honed my intent and cut through his consciousness directly. Just moments ago, I was cutting unconsciously in ecstasy, but now I was fully aware and executing in single form. Ha! Resorting to tricks again. But do you really think you can penetrate this whirlwind? The whirlwind surrounding the Crown Prince. It was the culmination of a spell made of thousands, even tens of thousands of wind blades. Yet, I feel a newfound confidence. I can cut through it. The weakest point of the spell. The spot where the rotation of the wind blades was weakest. I shot towards that spot. Kong! Dozens, hundreds of wind blades seemed to shoot towards me. But I did not flinch, sensing their intent. I felt it. Kong! 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 Landscape painting. Dozens of slashes extended in all directions, shedding the wind blades, and I successfully penetrated the inside of the whirlwind. Inside, the Crown Prince's consciousness was denser and harder to cut. No matter. At this distance, my sword can reach him. I infused my sword with Sword Gang. Pot. A bright white light burst from my sword, shocking the Crown Prince who just noticed me. Before, I couldn't pierce the defensive spell with Sword Silk. But Sword Gang would be different. Kwang! My single sword stroke shattered the Crown Prince's defensive spell like glass. Kruek! Chalk! My sword tore a part of his neck. Pot! The Crown Prince hurriedly executed a wind spell to dodge my sword. For the first time, fear seemed to surface in his eyes. Heek! Don't come! Stay away! Pot! I lunged at him with the record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts, cutting through his consciousness again. As I disappeared from his sight, his complexion turned deathly pale. Go away! Get away from me! Kwaa! A gust of wind howled. He blindly scattered wind in all directions due to not seeing me, but I quickly sliced through the wind and approached him again. Chalk! Using Sword Gang, I aimed at him once more. The Crown Prince screamed and used another spell, narrowly surviving once more. Die! Just die! Pot! As he chanted a spell, forming another incantation, once again, spells in the forms of giant bird, wind dragon, phoenix, and Qilin burst forth. Now fully grounded in 3 flowers gather at the summit and using record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts, they were useless against me. Shuck! I rushed towards the giant bird with deep mountain, slicing it, then pierced the wind dragon with flowing ridge. Dodging other spells with Mountain Lord's soaring flight, I chase after the prince. Once again, he uses powerful spells to escape from me. The situation had reversed. Huck, Hoork. The Crown Prince miserably ran away, continuously forming incantations. Compared to me, who uses my internal energy without any waste, the Crown Prince, who had kept casting large-scale spells that never hit, now turned pale. Just die. Please, just die. Hooah! With the next strike, I'll end it. I took the stance of Chi Mountain, Heart Heaven and took a breath. Ha! KRK. While fleeing, the Crown Prince suddenly changes direction, leaping with a spell. Chi Mountain, Heart Heaven. Shuck! My Sword Gang extends and aims at his legs, severing them. Crack! Damn it! A mere martial artist, why a martial artist? In agony from his severed legs, he grits his teeth at me. Do you think what you're doing is right? Do you think the Jin clan you're with is any different? I silently raise my sword towards him. Ha! That's right, you received the blessing pill from Father years ago. The blessing pill is made of the same material as the revival pill. And you know what the chi building pill is, the one that chi refining cultivators eat to ascend to chi building right. I raise my sword towards the babbling prince. The chi building pill is made using 100 years of human vital energy and essence as one of its ingredients. Do you think there's a chi building cultivator who ascended without eating a chi building pill? Over 99% of chi-building cultivators ascend by consuming chi-building pills. The Jin clan you follow is no different in the end. They all consume human lives. Since you've eaten the blessing pill, you're no different. Kook. I kicked the crown prince in the chest. He coughed up blood, struggling to breathe. But I, too, had to gasp for air. I had lost too much blood. There were places where flesh had been completely torn away, and I was losing sensation in my thigh. I glanced down at the crown prince coughing on the ground, then took out a silk box from my pocket. I looked at the blessing pill inside. A lustrous pill with a hint of red. A legendary elixir said to extend a person's life by 10 years. Today, I realized the true nature of the red hue in the blessing pill. Tuck, crunch. I throw the filthy pill beside the crown prince and crush it under my foot. Don't worry, I have no intention of ever consuming such filthy pills made by you cultivators. Flames roared and raged. The Mockley clan's base was now engulfed in flames by the fire spells of the Jin clan cultivators. Above, a battle was raging among chi-building cultivators. Kim Young-hoon was also engaged in that battle. I need to hurry, and help. Would I have been able to move a bit more if I had taken the blessing pill? But I have no regrets. I don't want to touch a filthy pill made at the expense of human lives. Slung. I raise my sword. Farewell. I struck down at the crown prince. Shuck. What's happening? Why is my body upside down? I suddenly realized that my neck felt empty. Ah, I see. My head has been cut off. It was due to a wind blade that suddenly shot from the necklace the crown prince was wearing. A wind blade I couldn't possibly block or dodge. I need to cut. Finally reaching that realm, to be a little more helpful. Is this how I die? No, it's not. Even if I die like this, let me be of some help. Despite achieving the realm I long for, to die without doing anything. I'll cut, even if I die, I'll keep cutting. Huck. Mockley Yun, the crown prince of Yangguo, gasped for breath upon witnessing the decapitated body of Seo Eun Yun. I survived. The life-saving magical instrument given to the crown prince of Yangguo. A one-time use magical instrument capable of delivering a blow equivalent to a chi-building cultivator was activated. Quote. Ha. He laughed maniacally. I won. I beat this mortal. You can never challenge the authority of cultivators. Ha. Kook. He coughed up blood. He had used too many powerful spells excessively. His spiritual power was depleted, and he couldn't move his legs. I need to recover my spiritual power with spirit stones. He looked up at the sky. Among the martial artists who came with Seo Eun Yun, there was a monster who was confronting chi-building level elders head-on. I shouldn't have come to gain merit. I need to escape before it's too late. Then, it happened. Wriggle. Quote. Seo Eun Yun's decapitated body began to move. What? Mockley Yun dumbfoundedly watched the body. A body without a head, now adopting a stance. What's going on? No. Without any spiritual power controlling its movements, it wasn't a Jiangshi. Why is he moving? He tried to stand and flee, but his legs wouldn't move. Then, Seo Eun Yun's intent captured his consciousness. This is obsession. An overwhelming obsession to cut down the opponent in front of him, no matter what, was raging within Seo Eun Yun's body. Nonsense. How can a mere mortal have such obsession? Seo Eun Yun's corpse took on a sword stance. Though his corpse could not gather energy into the sword, Mockley Yun was now powerless, unable to move, and had even used up his one-time life-saving magical device. The sword began to move. This is nonsense. How can a mere mortal possess such tenacity? How can such a thing be possible? Why won't you give up even in death? It was Seo Eun Yun's body. The body he honed in martial arts all his life. The hands that held the sword so tightly through decades of arduous training. His lifelong dedication to refining his martial arts, even in death, moved his body on its own, performing its destined task. Why won't you give up? Why resist even in death? Swoosh. Seo Eun Yun's sword cleanly sliced off the upper part of Mockley Yun's mouth. His mouth remained agape in disbelief until his death, and his eyes were filled with incredulity and fear until the end. Seo Eun Yun's head, even severed, bore a faint smile. Thus ended the life of a man who had relentlessly refined himself. This was Seo Eun Yun's fifth return. Translator notes. Headless Eun Yun isekais into another world as a Darahan. The end. Anyway, the fourth cycle is now over. What did y'all think of it? I feel Seo Eun Yun's character and determination is deepening every cycle. In the third cycle, Seo Eun-yun engraved the concept that the untalented must go mad in order to advance. In this cycle, Seo Eun-yun engraved the concept that if he can gain enlightenment in the morning, he is fine with death in the evening. Meaning, Seo Eun-yun must train and pursue martial arts with death as a consequence. What will he engrave in the next? The next cycle is one of my favorites. It might be a tad bit slow in the middle, but trust me, it'll be worth it in the end. Chapter 25. Fifth cycle's first day. As I opened my eyes, a familiar scent filled the air. It was the forest ascension path. I've returned again. First, I swiftly pressed the sleep acupoint on Jaeon Myung-hoon, who was trying to say something to me, making him fall deeply asleep at an invisible speed. I'm not sure if I succeeded in cutting down the crown prince. It seemed like my body had moved, but I wasn't certain. Did I manage to be of any help? I hadn't known cultivators had such things. Naturally, thinking I had reached a new realm, I was too complacent. Just as martial artists often hide 30% of their true power and keep life-saving herbs a secret, it would make sense for cultivators to have something similar. Given he didn't use it until the very end, it seemed more like an external object rather than his own power. Probably a type of magical device. Next time, when confronting a cultivator, I'll need to check for such life-saving devices first. I gathered my thoughts, feeling the vitality coursing through my young body. The regression was evident. In my last life, I reached 3 flowers gather at the summit. It was an achievement I had always dreamed of. It was also the goal I desperately wanted to achieve in my previous life. But I died too soon. In all my past lives, I had died according to my natural lifespan. Living for about 50 years each time, steadily achieving and advancing. However, in the 4th cycle, I died before my time for the first time. It's a pity. Had I lived a few decades more and further refined my enlightenment, I might have even reached 5 energies converging to the origin. Single quote. It's over. No use dwelling on it. I sighed softly, shaking my head. It was all in the past now. Being granted another life was a miracle, and I silently expressed gratitude for this new life. Look at this Deputy Manager Seo. Section Chief Jaeon doesn't wake up no matter how hard we shake him. And where are we now? Kim Young-hoon and Chief Oh Yun-sok were holding the pale Jaeon Myung-hoon, and worried. I've studied Oriental medicine before, so let me take his pulse. Really? I'll trust you then. Pretending to take Jaeon Myung-hoon's pulse, I pressed his acupoint again to wake him up. Where is this? Before he could fully regain consciousness, I pressed his sleep acupoint, putting him back to sleep. Seeing that he just woke up, it seems he was just sleeping. He must have been accumulating fatigue. That's a relief then, but should we wake him up? He doesn't even know what's going on. Ignoring the discussion between Kim Young-hoon and Oh Yun-sok about whether to wake Jaeon Myung-hoon, I pointed to a large tree nearby. I'll climb up that tree to see if there's anything around. Without waiting for their response, I approached the tree and executed the martial arts I had realized in my last life. Mountain Lord martial art and transcending peaks steps true form. Mountain Lord's soaring flight. Whoosh. Just like a tiger leaping over a great mountain, I swiftly climbed up the tree branches and came back down. Wow, Deputy Manager Seo, that's amazing. When did you learn that? I casually explained that there was nothing around and persuaded everyone to go to the cave. Then, after making a windbreak and preparing a campfire in the cave, I continued to consolidate the realization of 3 flowers gather at the summit. Constantly connecting with the opponent. When I first entered 3 flowers, it was only a connection with the opponent I was fighting. However, the more I became accustomed to it, it seemed possible to connect not only with enemies but also with nearby allies and structures. If this ability is maximized, eventually, I could read the myriad intents flowing through the world, connecting not only with living beings but also with the world itself. That would probably be the realm of 5 energies converging to the origin. I smiled lightly as I made an educated guess about the realm of 5 energies. I burst into laughter. Ha. Oh Yun-sok, who was gathering branches for the campfire, looked at me curiously. Why are you laughing? Oh, nothing. Just remembered something funny. I had always thought that reaching the peak of 3 flowers was the ultimate end. But 3 flowers was not the end. Rather, it was just the beginning of the journey towards 5 energies. I guess it's the same with 5 energies converging to the origin. The end is just the start to a new beginning. I am still so weak. However, someday, I will definitely reach there. The beginning to reach the end. Naturally, my goal in this life is 5 energies. Now, only one step is left to become a cultivator. Soon it was night. All my colleagues at the company had fallen asleep. Jaeon Myung-hoon, who had been sleeping all day, tried to wake up, but I knocked him out again by hitting the back of his neck. Leaving my colleagues behind, I went outside the cave, dug up yellow bamboo roots, and channeled internal power. Then I chose a suitable branch and carved it into a wooden sword. Wu Wang. When I infused energy and intent into it, a white sword gang formed on the wooden sword. It certainly wasn't the sturdy body I had trained for a lifetime in my past life. However, no longer did my grip ache even when holding a sword. Good, a new life. Right after death, which always strikes at the last moment, the life that follows feels so grateful. I closed my eyes for a moment and contemplated my body. After looking at the sword gang, I sniffed the scent carried by the wind. It's over there. To that, using Mountain Lord's soaring flight, I climbed onto a tree and ran towards the direction of the scent, jumping across trees. Shoo shush. Every time I stepped, it seemed like trees passed by me in an instant. This unforgettable scent, in a giant rural area far away. There was a fox. ZZZT, ZZZT. As soon as I visually confirmed the fox's territory, tension swirled throughout my body. The fox's domain was over 30 jong, 100 meters, in radius, centered around the fox. Core formation. Now, I could roughly gauge the level of the opponent by the size of their domain. In my last life, I once glimpsed at the core formation cultivator of the Jin clan, and his domain was about that size. Wu Wang. Maintaining the vision of a peak master, I observed the fox's territory, shimmering in purple. Then, as if the fox sensed something strange, it opened its eyes. Shuck. I quickly refined my intent to cut off the fox's perception, erasing my presence. The fox looked around for a while but, not finding anything unusual, closed its eyes and fell asleep again. It's a good thing I was far outside its domain. If I had been inside the fox's domain, it would have been impossible. Unlike the consciousness of a lower-level practitioner at Qi refining, the consciousness of a core formation being was much denser and richer. It was doubtful whether I could even find an intent in that gap to secretly cut. Single quote. As expected, I can't face the fox with my current level. The difference in level was absurd, not mentioning killing the fox, but even to escape, I need to reach 5 energies. Before that, it would be presumptuous to even try to penetrate those dense layers of consciousness. Single quote. First, I need to practice the state of 3 flowers a bit. As I focused on the giant purple area before me, the purple area began to turn red, distinguishing my consciousness from the fox's. In the state of 3 flowers, intent could simply appear purple, but like this, I could also perceive the other's consciousness by dividing into red and blue. After integrating and separating the purple, blue, and red intents for a while, I slowly descended to the ground. And took a step towards where the fox was. Shuck. With each step, I simultaneously cut through the fox's consciousness again. Another step. One more. Gradually approaching the fox's domain, I continuously sharpened my intent. I can't enter inside of the domain. But, it's possible to get as close as I can. How close can I get to the fox? Consciousness seemed to dominate space based on some sort of boundary, but in fact, that boundary was not clear. Even though it looked like there were boundaries when viewed with the vision of a peak master, in reality, a faint consciousness was constantly flowing beyond that. I was approaching the fox by cutting through that faint consciousness. How capable am I? How far can I reach? Where am I now? This was an opportunity to test myself and at the same time, to understand and train in the record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. Bu Wang. My wooden sword split the air, barely cutting through the faint consciousness of the fox. With each step, sweat dripped from my entire body. With each division of countless consciousnesses, my heart pounded with tension. No, I can do more. I took another step. Only 30 steps left to the fox's domain. When I took another step, cutting through the consciousness. Wu Wang. The fox's consciousness intensified. It had sensed something was off. I quickly cut through the consciousness and stepped into the fox's blind spot. It's far. If I were Kim Young-hoon from my past life, I could have easily passed this distance and entered the fox's domain. But this was my limit. 29 steps to the proper inner area of the consciousness domain. That was my current level. No, it's not. I gritted my teeth. I can go further. With all my concentration, I saw even more consciousnesses. Sweating, I swung my sword again. Whoosh. The consciousness was cut again by the intent on my sword. Is this my limit? Then what am I supposed to do? My original limit was much lower. Far from getting close to the fox, I was always waiting in the cave to be torn apart. I've constantly overcome my limits to reach this point. This time, too, I will overcome my limit. Squeeze out your brain, until the brain busts into flames. It's comfortable now that I'm used to the peak state, but when I first reached the peak state, I had to constantly endure my brain burning. It felt like my brain was on fire. More details of the consciousness became visible. I took another step. The distance till the inner area of the fox's domain was gradually closing. 27 steps, 25 steps, 22 steps, 20 steps, 15 steps, and 10 steps. Maybe because I overloaded my brain too much, my brain was screaming. The tension exceeding the limit had my muscles and body tightly contracted. One more step, and I'll really be caught. The next step was where the color of the fox's consciousness faintly leaked out. If I go one step further, I might be caught by the fox. Well, what does it matter? Though sweat poured down my entire body, I smirked. If I can take one more step, I don't mind dying. My body screamed madly. It felt like smoke would come out of my brain. If you want to live, squeeze out more. I'm a dunce. So, when the opportunity comes, if I don't squeeze out all my ability, I can't move forward. I can't move forward without dying. Blood rushed to my brain. At the same time, I was able to move half a step further. Half a step. Originally, I tried to take one more step, but my body instinctively prevented me from going any further. But, I've crossed the limit. I wasn't caught. The fox was still asleep, and my body had gone far beyond what I thought was my limit. I smirked and quietly killed my presence, cutting through consciousness and stepping back. This was the end for this life. In the next life, I might be able to go a little deeper. Having completely escaped the influence of the fox's consciousness, I thought as I ran back to the cave. Next time, even more. I'll go deeper. Drip. As I arrived at the cave, blood flowed from my nose. It seemed to be due to overloading my brain. But even with the feeling of collapsing from exhaustion, I smiled, showing my teeth. Ha ha, ha 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 ha, this life. The first day I woke up, I had succeeded in overcoming another limit. I will continue to surpass my limits and surely reach the next realm. The fifth regression. 5 energies converging to the origin seemed to be in sight.